Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And that channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year where Fountain Pen Therapy looks back on the year 2025 and grants its annual awards. For all of these episodes and all of these awards, we will list the nominees, choose the top 3, and declare the ultimate winners. So without any further ado, here are the nominees, the top 3, and the ultimate winners of the 2025 Chinese Pen and Pen Maker of the Year. Enjoy. I'm back. And yes, let's get going. But before we do, I just want to set out some of the rules here so you have some notion as to how we went about this, okay? For each of the categories, we will assemble all of the object or the subject pens, if you will, and then we create a sort of an Excel sheet where we look at different parameters, list all the candidates, arrive at the top 12 nominees, then the top 3, and we declare the ultimate winner. For each of the awards, the parameters may vary depending on what the award is. And please keep in mind, this is all in good fun. These are my choices. And my choices are obviously based on my own experiences and my own acquisitions. And as much as I would love to acquire all of the pens that are out there to ultimately declare the ultimate winners, of course, I'm limited to the pens that I've acquired. So don't get upset if your pen doesn't make the list. It may not have been on my list because I may not have had the opportunity or the honor or the privilege for it to be on my list. But it's all in good fun. And I think it's an exercise that I invite you all to do. Sit back, take a look at your collection, and maybe declare some winners. And please, I would love the opportunity for you to share your own winners in the comments. And who knows, perhaps there's a gem out there that I've forgotten and that will make it on the 2026 year list because I will have acquired it next year. So without any further ado, let's look at the nominees I've chosen for this category and proceed with the review. Okay, so for the Chinese Pen and Pen Maker of the Year, here's what I propose to do. First of all, I'm going to lay out for you all of the pens, essentially, all of the pens that I've acquired from Chinese pen makers, from each brand, if you will, just to show you from what I had to choose. Some of these pens may actually have, not many, but some of them may have actually come out before 2024, but I acquired them in 2025, or before 2025, but I acquired them in 2025, and that's why they may find themselves in the list. So if you see any of them, you know why, okay? They've come into my hands in 2025, so I'm evaluating them as if they were a 2025 offering, but there's not that many. Then from that, so we'll show you all the pens we've acquired from each of the brands, and then we will choose the 12 nominees. And from the 12 nominees, we'll do some writing samples. I'll tell you why I chose those 12. We'll whittle down to 3, and then the last 3, And then, of course, I will declare the winner at the end. Okay, so let's go to my overhead camera, and we'll start, first of all, with Andean and Lemon. Here we go. Be right back. Okay, so here are the Andean candidates, if you will, for the 2025 awards. You have, of course, the N25, which is the Year of the Snake. This is the 1866 Max Forest. This may be one of those pens that may have come out in before 2025. I'm not sure, but certainly I believe I acquired it in 2025. There's its sister look-alike, but in titanium, T1. Then I've added this, probably, I think from all the Chinese pens, this is probably the only pocket pen that made it. I think it is the best pocket pen in the Chinese market, and maybe even the best pocket pen that I own. That's why it found its way there. Then you have the stabilized wood pens. First of all, the two A7s I had. This original green one was in a shinier finish, was a disaster. It just kind of unglued. This A7 matte finish that came out is kind of a new version. They've corrected it. At least most of us are not complaining. And then, of course, there's that new A10 that came out later in the year. So those are my Andean candidates. Not much, I got to tell you, from Andean, and nothing earth-shattering, not like 2024, but nonetheless, some very nice writing instruments. Lemon, the only Lemon candidate I have is this Lemon M8. I believe all the other Lemon pens that I own, and I own quite a few, were all in 2024. Their Lemon nibs will, of course, find themselves in some of the pens, as you will see. So they can almost be a candidate in and of themselves. But having said that, my only Lemon pen as a candidate, or as from which I could choose, and we'll see if it makes the 12 nominees, is this Lemon M8, which is a Mont Blanc inspiration. So there you have it for those two pen makers. Okay, so we're back with the MAJOHNs. These are all the MAJOHNs that I acquired. There may have been actually that I want to put into the mix. I've acquired a lot more, but these right off the bat, this is the P139. I acquired this white resin in 2025, but it was a pen that formed part of my review and my awards last year. This is the M1000. Again, a pen that I acquired during the year, but that may have been out actually earlier. And along with my X1, which I believe has been around for a while. I've excluded from all this a series of other pens, and I'll get to that in a minute. These are really my contenders for this year. There's the C5 that squeaked in January. Then, of course, you have the P140. I have it in this beautiful transparent acrylic. There is the P141 in three versions, if you will. The two acrylic versions here, and then I've got it in this beautiful hammered titanium version, P141. Then I have my P137. There again, this is a pen that I want to put in the mix, but I'm not sure when it actually came out. But certainly I only acquired it in 2025. And my most recent edition, which is this MAJOHN P136, but in this twilight blue. So there you have my MAJOHN acquisitions. Next on the list is ASVINE. These are my ASVINE purchases not purchases. These are the ASVINE pens that came out in 2025 and that I've purchased. Purchased several other ASVINEs, but they had come out in previous years. First of all, this came in, just squeezed in, I think, right before my awards last year. So they were not included in 2024, although the pen may have come out late in 2024. But I had promised my viewers that it would definitely be part of my considerations for 2025. So there you have it. Now, the first series, 1, 2, 3, 4, all suffered from the same defect, which was this sealing. The cap did not seal, so we had dry issues. They sent out special washers, which solved the problem in my view, but then they came out with a revised version, which is this kind of teal, where they fix the washer problem themselves, so when it comes out of the factory it's already repaired. These required repairs, and they provided almost free of charge the washer in question. And then of course they came out with the ebonite version, which is the TC2000 ebonite, which you'll find here. Next are the C80s. These are the 3 C80s that I own. Beautiful, beautiful resin pens. And of course, the latest offering from ASVINE, which is the V800 in both the transparent and in the green resin version. There you have all of the ASVINE pens that form part of my review. And we will, of course, choose from these and see if any made my 12 nominees in a few minutes. Be right back with the next brand. Okay, here are my Winsung pens. Now, before you comment on these, I will explain in a second. First of all, here you have the Winsung 930 or JUNLAI 930. I have the 3 in broad, medium, and fine in 2 different models. The flat top model, which is the Pope pen, as they call it, and then, of course, the cigar-shaped one. Now, all of these are the 630s, and you all might say, but wait a minute, 630s came out a long time ago. Some of them, I think, may have come out as early as 2023. The reason why I've added these 630s is because it's got something new under its hood, and that they've introduced the new nibs, the new number 8 size nibs, which I think are worthy of mention. So I've included, I think, in the mix, in terms of my reflection, the 630 with that modified, or with that new Winsung nib, which I think is worthy of mention. So these are my Winsung candidates, if you will, for the 12 nominees. Be right back with the next batch. Now, I did want to mention, just in case you may have noticed, there is a series of other pens coming from the brands that I've just mentioned, be they Winsung, Hongdian, or MAJOHN, or even Jinhao, that I purchased and that did not make my final 12 nominees, and I'll tell you that right away. These are it. Some of these are these hooded nibs, thinner pens. I have a series of retractable pens as well that I wanted to mention are in the mix, but unfortunately did not make, I tell you right now, did not make my 12 nominees. I think the only one that came close, and even then I'm not sure this pen came out in 2025, is this MAJOHN retractable pen, which I think is absolutely magnificent, probably the best one I own in terms of retractable pens, and I think it even, in terms of my own taste, even beats the Vanishing Point in my view, at least from my experiences. But I thought I'd do mention, there's of course the Winsung 601 and the 601A, which just write beautifully. There's my new Hero 1000 that is also worthy of mention, but and that may be just my own bias. There's this one is here. This MAJOHN B25 is also a good writer for me. Maybe my own biases. Very thin lined pens and very thin nibs, and those hooded nibs, I just don't give me the fountain pen therapy that I need for them to have made my my top 12 nominees. So there you are, honorable mention. Before I proceed with the 12 nominees and some writing samples, I wanted to mention that these were the 4 runner-ups, that just the last 4 that couldn't squeak in my top 12. I have the Dieman N25 Year of the Snake. I think this is a beautiful pen. I really do. Some may see it over the top, but I think that smooth 3D look there, and with that beautiful nib, was worthy of mention. And I thought I shout out this little pen, folks. And you know I rave about it. This M2 brass finish is absolutely outstanding. It's got a great nib. It's got a great feel. It's a great pocket pen. I think it beats Kaweco for a mile. The only ones that maybe come close are some of the offerings from Gravitas, and even then, I would prefer this one. I love this much maligned pen, this C5 with this beautiful acrylic that MAJOHN uses. I know that it's an imitation of an old Ancora, but with this little misunderstood clip. Some people say, why is it there? Well, this is the logo of MAJOHN. That's why it's there. But I just enjoy this pen on an everyday basis, and I thought a shout out. And of course, we've got the P141, muchly criticized. I think it came out of the fact that it came after the P140, which was such a great success and just a great pen. Spoiler alert, the P140 did make my top 12. And some people wondered, why does this pen even exist? It doesn't have the same quality characteristics and the same nib as the P140, and a lot of us have asked why. But you know what? I think it's a great little pen. It introduced the number 8 Moonman nib, which is, contrary to what many people might say, I still think it's a good nib. It may not come close to the Sun nib, but I think it's a great nib. Yes, this has a plastic piston rod instead of a brass one, but I think had it not been for the success of the P140, this P141 would have made the list, and it did not, at least not this version. So there you have my 4 runner-ups. And now, without any further ado, let's get to my writing samples and my 12 nominees. Okay, so we're back. No, this is not one of the pens. This is my Leonardo, but I'm going to use this one to write some notes so that you can understand how I went about this. I just wanted to mention, and maybe we just go a little bit here, what were the parameters that I used. So in preparing my final Excel sheet, the first parameter that I used was originality, or original design, or design, if you will, both going together. The design in and of itself may be worthy of mention, but if it wasn't original, then it got some points taken off. The second criteria that I used was the build quality. And in there, I took into consideration, things like, does it post? Does it have an ink window? What about the clip? In terms of the nib section, the threads, that sort of thing. Okay. Now, the next criteria that I used was, of course, the nib, and that played a major role, I can tell you. So it was kind of skewed to give more importance to this criteria as well. And then the overall writing experience, because I think it's important. It's very difficult to pinpoint, but just overall, when the pen's in your hand and it's writing, what does it give? I then also look at materials used. I think there's a difference between, in my view anyway, a cheap acrylic or resin and a titanium, for example. I looked at the filling system as well. Not only whether or not, because this could be subjective. Some people would argue that vacuum fillers are more better than a cartridge converter, and others would argue the contrary. But if you're going to put in a pen a filling mechanism which is complex, like a vacuum filler, I think it deserves additional points than if it's just a simple cartridge converter. And then, of course, I try to take into account price, although I got to tell you, price did not form, in terms of skewing, the most important criteria, because all of these Chinese pens, I think, are fairly affordable in any event, but it did play a role. And then, of course, I compiled the Excel sheet and then let the Excel do its magic. And here are the 12 nominees. So, number 12. Number 12 is this Lemon M8. Yes, it is heavily inspired on different models of Mont Blanc. I think it's a great pen. It's a little heavy on the heavy side, but not too heavy for a metal pen. I mean, it's, plain metal. It's steel. I guess it's stainless steel. It's not titanium of any sort. But that nib that belongs to it, the lemon nib, hand-polished medium, I believe, is just fabulous. And just because of that nib, I think lemon deserves a place in my top 12. So this is the Lemon M8 with the hand-polished medium nib. Okay, and it's number 12, forgot to mention here. Just absolutely fabulous writer. So that's my number 12. Beautiful pen. Very classy looking. I think you can't go wrong. This is a piston filler without an ink window, but nonetheless, it's made my number 12. Number 11 is this newly acquired, just squeaked in here this year. So number 11 is this MAJOHN P136 Twilight Blue. It's got a Moonman .1 stub, which is just smooth, wet, constant. So you'll see that maybe my other pens I've replaced, or I've chosen the pen with some of those lemon nibs, but I don't believe it would have made a difference because these nibs are $25 less, and they're worth every penny. I think this is a beautiful pen, especially with this three-dimensional pattern that you see here. Yes, it is an imitation of a pen that looks almost exactly like it. It's I believe it's a Mont Blanc Duet. I forget what it's called exactly, but it has the blue pattern. So, obviously that does get into the mix in terms of evaluation. I think it's a great pen. It's got great qualities. It is a piston filler as well. So, a lot of work goes into it. The build quality, I think, is excellent. So my number 11 is that MAJOHN P136 Twilight Blue. Number 10 is this pen. This pen probably would have made my top 3, but they chose to put it into a P140 kind of a template. So it got punished for that. So this is my MAJOHN, and I think in my heart it probably is way further up in the top 12, but when I look at my Excel sheet, no matter how much I played with it, there it was. So MAJOHN, this is I guess we can call it the TI 141, just so that, but it's the hammered version. It's also much more expensive than the others, so that played a role as well. The nib is a Number 8, Moonman nib. Not the star, which is the sun nib, but nonetheless, I think that we're underestimating this nib. Maybe not as nice as the sun nib, but still very nice. Like I mentioned, in my heart, I think it's probably much higher than number 10, but there you have it. I have to be objective. Number 10, there it is, but it's a beautiful pen. Now, number 9, this kind of squeaked in, but only for one reason. Yes, it's the 630 that came out in 2023, but what made it special is this new nib that Wing Sung has come out with, or JUNLAI, and I think it just elevates this pen to another level and makes it brand new in my estimation. So number 9 is the Wing Sung. Look how thick this is. 630, but with the new number 8 steel Wing Sung or JUNLAI, and this one is a broad, as you can see, but it writes like a triple broad. I can't say enough good things about this new nib. And you know, if you looked at it, the medium is just as good, and even the fine. So worthy of mention, it's squeaked into my number 9 spot. Number 8, and this may be a little bit controversial because I'm not sure when this pen actually came out, but I'm putting it here, number 8. This is my MAJOHN P137. This particular version has the lemon hand polished medium nib. Just a beautiful writer, I gotta tell you. I like the shape of this pen. I like its design. Yes, it is a Mont Blanc inspired writing instrument, but the titanium, the ink window, the piston filler, the beautiful nib, the gold trimmings. It reminds me of the PI or TI 136 of last year. It's got a great looking finial. I think it's one of my go-to pens. It's made number 8. How are we doing so far? How are we doing so far? Some surprises there, maybe, maybe not. Next on my list, so we're at number 7. Number 7 is this ASVINE, wow, C2000 revised version, if you will. With an ASVINE number 8 steel. This one is the 1.1 stub. I got to tell you one other thing I wanted to mention before I go. Well, let me just finish this one here. Just a beautiful nib. Very nice pen. Some people don't like the shape of this pen. I think it's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Original. It's stable wood, which is not an easy thing to work with. This ASVINE, the big gold, I love it. I love this nib. On the contrary, I love the fact that it starts out flat and ends up, cigar shaped. Everything that everybody doesn't like, I love. So it's up there, number 7. The only reason probably it was as low as number 7 is because it had to be revised. But they've managed to do it. They've managed to do it. And that's what I wanted to mention. All of these pens, when I gathered them all, put all 12 in my pen display to do this, I checked to see, made sure that they all wrote, and they all wrote right off the bat. Some of them hadn't been inked for a while. or had been inked for a while and not used for a while. Others were more recent, but they all wrote beautifully. And what you see now in this writing samples is exactly what I saw when I just tested the pens for this particular review. So there you have it. Number 7 is my ASVINE C2000. And I guess we should say here revised, but also the wood. The nib is spectacular, by the way, folks. Just got a little spring to it. These number 8 steel nibs, I think, have revolutionized the pen market. Next, my number 6. Again, it's ASVINE that takes the position. It's my C80. And it's just an absolute joy to write with this pen. It has a number 8 steel ASVINE nib. This is particularly as my 1-point stub just because I love these stubs. As I mentioned, it's got some flex to it, or spring to it, I should say. And it writes and writes and writes until the ink is gone. No problems whatsoever with these ASVINE nibs. Number 6, C80. I guess it's a little, it's a cartridge converter. It has no clip. Very light. It's all resin. And, you've got to give a little more points to a pen that, puts in a vacuum system. Now, you may not like the vacuum filler, but there's value there. There's, in the overall evaluation, I think it plays a role. But otherwise, the price of that pen also is very attractive. That puts it up there as well. My number 5 is this beautiful pen. Now, this is the number 5. This is the Hongdian T1. It's got a number 6 steel Hongdian nib. And this is a medium nib, by the way. I was surprised. I really thought that this pen would not write, but I hadn't written it with it for a while, and it just came out the blocks like gangbusters. It really did. I think it's a great little pen. It's all titanium. It's Hongdian quality. That nib is just very constant and got a little spring to it. That's the new version. And there you have it. The Hongdian T1 is made number 5. The last, number 4, right before we get to my top 3, is this MAJOHN P140. Number 4, MAJOHN P140. This is in the clear version because they do come with solid resins. It's got this absolutely top-notch number 8 MAJOHN steel sun nib, which is springy, soft, wet, you name it, in a nib for a pen of that price. I don't know how people have not seen the light yet. It's just fabulous. That's number 4. I mean, maybe one of the reasons why it may not been, further up, it's got that totally brass system. It's got that beautiful nib. It's got a clear resin. I think because it kind of, it's too close to the 149. Maybe that's why it took a little a little dip. Maybe price has got something to do with it, although, as I mentioned, it's all relative. So number 4, but this thing could easily find itself anywhere in the top 3, if not even the winner in some of your estimations as well. So we're going to stop right there. I'm going to just interrupt, take just a little bit of my coffee, and we'll come back with the last 3. Okay, so you're ready, folks? Drum roll. My number 3, top 3. My number 3 top number 3 Chinese pen for 2025. Here it is. It's the ASVINE V800, folks. Beautiful pen. So number 3, the ASVINE V800. This is in the green because it does come in clear and various other colors. It's got that number 8 steel ASVINE. Again, is it a medium, this one? No, it's my 1.1 stub. Just this stub, right? So just a little finer than the others. Just beautiful. Can't say why. I just can't explain why this pen is not attracting more attention. I say that just because I don't see it being, talked about by every reviewer, and they should. They should have this in their collection. But I'm telling you, 2025 saw a turnaround. Seen some of the reviewers that normally review, the more expensive branded, named pens reviewing these pens. And you've got, dynamic reviewers like Figboot and SB Brown, coming out and saying these are great pens. But there you have it. Number 3, V800. I guess I have to convince Hemingway Jones to look at these Chinese pens. I know he's kind of abandoned ship, so to speak, but anyway, that it is what it is. It's all relative, as they say. Number 2 on my list is this beautiful ASVINE C2000, but in the ebonite finish. I mentioned earlier that I thought that this ASVINE pen is gorgeous. I love this ASVINE. I love this. I love the clip. I love the flat and the difference between the top and the bottom. But most especially, I love this ebonite. Folks, I mean, this is almost, I'm going to exaggerate here, Urushi-like in terms of quality of that finish. To be able to use the ebonite, I think elevates this pen with that nib. I have known it just rose right up to the top. Yes, it's a little pricey because it is ebonite. Yes, it is a cartridge converter and not fancy, but it made the list, folks. So number 2, and my nib on this thing, I don't know what it is, but it's different from all the rest. ASVINE C2000 ebonite. Of course, it has the number 8 steel ASVINE 1.1 stub. Now, some of you might be wondering, gee whiz, what's left? Well, don't run away, Red. Don't run away. I have probably a big surprise for you all. But, hey, that's where the chips fell. And you know what? I agreed immediately with the Excel sheet. Sometimes you hesitate, you look and you kind of try to rethink things just because you don't like the result. But let's finish up with this ASVINE first. Love this pen. Number 2 on my list. It has not failed me yet. And I promised that for when there's a sale, I'm going to get all the other colors of these ebonite pens. I believe there's a green and brown version. I forget. Definitely a brown version that I want to get. So we'll add that to our collection. These are great, great writing instruments. But it's, it's I think up there, $120. Probably one, if not the most expensive pen out there. So you have to reflect on it twice, but it's worth every penny. There you have it. It's ebonite, folks. My number one, the Chinese pen for 2025 is this JUNLAI 930 Pope dedicated pen. Dedicated to Pope Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 1936, who passed away in 2025. This, I'm sorry, this ivory finish on this pen with a nice, beautiful top finial there is just absolutely fabulous. It is my favorite Chinese pen for 2025. And the big star, of course, is that big, huge number 930 nib that I think has revolutionized things. It makes gold nibs totally unnecessary. I've got the broad, which is got to be the smoothest pen in my collection. And we will be doing a video on the top nibs. And we'll see where this one lands. But it's going to land, at least it'll make my nominee list. It should in any event. But there you have it. That's what's under the hood is the main reason. But I think this pen is gorgeous. Well deserved. So my number one. That's me, by the way. It's the, I guess we should call it the JUNLAI. JUNLAI or Wing Sung 930. And, the only downside of this pen, and you saw it right here, is that every time I use it, because it's so big, it kind of I got to get used to the angles, if you will. But once you get used to it, there's no coming back. It's got a number 9, believe it or not, and it's steel. Wing Sung nib, which has inspired the rest, the new ones, if you will. And this one is a broad. And it is just fabulous. And you know what? Little chunky, little big, but man, you got to give it marks. You got to give it marks. I know a lot of you might be disappointed, or some of you may be, and saying, "What has he done?" But this is my pen of the year, folks. It is the Wing Sung 930. I hope it's got you thinking. And there you have it. Okay, so the final thoughts. The Chinese pen maker of the year. Having declared the pen of the year, I think it's time to declare the Chinese pen maker of the year. And I've got 2 candidates here. Here are all my ASVINE gems, and here are all my MAJOHN gems. Last year, I believe I declared MAJOHN to be the winner. And I got to tell you, they had, in my mind, one model, the P141, 2 models. This one could be a variation, 3 models. The P144, the 137.5, and 6. You could argue that in 2025, they came out with about 6 models. Unfortunately, they're a little bit too much inspired by Montblanc. And that's why I think the pen maker of the year for 2025 has got to be ASVINE. They came out with these 1, 2, and 3 major models, I would say to you. All number 8 steel nibs. Just beautiful pens. Different varieties in each. These are just a sampling. And given the quality and given how much care. I mean, I remember how many times has Doodlebutt said that he's received pens from ASVINE, and he's made some suggestions, and they've taken the time to make sure that the pens are up to speed. They've come up with a couple of revisions. ASVINE, the ASVINE C2000 is just one example. There are others. Not Figboot, but Doodlebutt has dealt with them. I think that yes, MAJOHN has been very active, probably the most active pen maker in China. A little bit too inspired by Montblanc. I think because of ASVINE's originality, or a lot more original, put it this way, I'm going to give the nod to ASVINE. So Fountain Pen Therapy declares that the Chinese pen maker for the year 2025 is ASVINE. There you have it. So there you have it. There you have it. Those were the nominees, the top 3, and the ultimate winner. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I just like to take this final few seconds to wish you all the very best. The very best for the holiday period and for 2026. 2025 has seen all kinds of great things happen in this channel and on the Fountain Pen Therapy scene. We'll not look at the year during our daily lives. This is not what it's all about. What it's all about is granting you, and perhaps most importantly, granting me, Fountain Pen Therapy. And this channel has provided that in a manner that I would never have hoped. So thank you very much for all of your support. I hope you're enjoying all of this. I hope you're taking in some time to reflect on the past and the future. And let's start planning Fountain Pen Therapy for next year, folks. Enjoy your pens, enjoy your passion, and be well. Ciao.